You step into a night far older than history itself. 300,000 years ago, the world was not yours alone. It was crowded with others, beings as human as you, yet not you. Neanderthals stalked the icy plains with massive chests and crushing strength. Denisovans hid in the high mountains, lungs built for thin air. Homo erectus, masters of fire and stone, still walked the tropics. Homo floresiensis, small and secretive, kept their island strongholds. And there were more, shadowy cousins whose names we may never know. Each forged by a different landscape, each perfectly equipped to survive. You were only one branch on a thick, ancient tree. Feel the weight of that knowledge pressing in. Everywhere you turn, there are other sets of eyes, sharp, patient, unafraid. They build shelters, fashion tools, hunt in groups as skilled as yours. Some are taller, some stronger, some hardened by generations of brutal winters. Measured only by muscle or bone, you are not the apex species here. Science reveals their presence with eerie precision. DNA fragments in frozen caves. Stone blades buried beside mammoth bones. Footprints preserved in volcanic ash. Each find is a whisper from the deep past, telling you that once the Earth was a crowded experiment in being human. And yet, standing among them, you sense something more than competition, a silent reckoning, as if nature is running a trial and time itself will choose the air. Listen closer. The wind of prehistory carries sounds that do not belong to any single tribe. The hiss of embers. The click of flint. The quiet breathing of hunters waiting in the dark.
Which branch will survive when the
It is
others
not
turn
one
fossil?
species you hear but a chorus of near humans. Each ready to claim the future. Their presence is everywhere, on every continent, in every shadow. You might think strength decides who lasts. Neanderthals can outlift you, outfight you. Denisovans endure thin air that would crush your chest. Even the mysterious, ghost species, known only from fragments of ancient genes, hold secrets of cold and disease resistance beyond anything you possess. In this silent census of power, you rank near the bottom. And yet, hidden inside your fragile frame, something different stirs. Your throat, tongue, and mind have begun to weave sounds into symbols, symbols into language. Not mere cries, but sentences that carry ideas across time. This is not muscle. This is code, information that multiplies faster than any body can. You can teach a skill to a friend in a single night and let that knowledge live long after both of you are gone. But in this moment of deep past, you do not know the future. All you know is fear. The world is crowded with rivals, and extinction feels closer than dawn. Every fire you light could be the last. Every hunt could end with your bones scattered on a frozen plain. The ground under your feet belongs to no one. The night belongs to all of them. You sense it now. Survival is not promised. Every breath you take is a challenge thrown into the face of stronger kin. The darkness hums with a question that has no mercy. Which branch of the human tree will still be standing when the rest have turned to fossils? In that question lies the first heartbeat of the hunt that will decide the fate of the world.
Which branch will...
You already know the beginning. Earth once held at least 8 different human species at the same time. But when the long night of prehistory ended, only Homo sapiens, your direct ancestors, remain. How could one small, seemingly delicate species outlive all the others in the brutal Ice Age? The answer starts with a chilling fact. We began as the weak ones. Place yourself in that world. You are not a Neanderthal with arms like stone pillars, nor a Denisovan built for icy mountain air. Your frame is lighter, your bones thinner, your fat layer shallow. Your body lets the cold cut straight through. Under a steel gray moon, every nerve in you understands that any other kind of human could overpower you in a single clash. It isn't just about strength. You are slower than the predators that prowl the frozen plains. A cave lion's leap or the charge of a giant cave bear would leave you no chance to sprint away. Even other humans can outrun and out-endure you in raw speed. In the dark of an Ice Age night, every snap of a twig could mean death.
But as prehistoric
Archaeology confirms the danger with stark numbers.
your direct ancestors.
Early Homo sapiens skulls were thin, their jaws small, their chewing muscles weak, proof that our species was never built for brute combat.
Neanderthals had broad shoulders.
Neanderthals, in contrast, had thick skulls, massive jaws, and shoulders designed to hurl heavy spears.
Superior in speed and
In any direct fight, every measurement of bone favored them.
ruthless
The
Neanderthal
cold
bands
deepens.
fiercely guarding territory.
You crouch beside a meager fire, listening to wolves call in the distance.
Nature.
Other human groups are threats as well. Territorial Neanderthal bands know every cave and pass. A wandering sapiens family straying into their range would almost never return. Yet the deadliest force isn't claw or spear.
You stood
It
on
is
the brink
climate
of extinction,
itself.
unaware.
Sudden freezes, endless winters, hail that shreds shelters, each storm a silent
Beginning
executioner.
of the story.
Lacking thick fur or heavy fat,
What
you are a
enabled small,
flickering flame in a
seemingly
blizzard of
fragile species
primordial
to
ice.
overcome all others.
Day after
Imagine the
day,
Ice Age.
you survive on the
Thin
edge of
bones,
extinction.
sparse muscle, a meager layer
A
of
single
fat.
crack in the dark might signal a stalking cat.
Neanderthals possessed broad
A
shoulders,
distant flicker
arms
of
like stone
firelight
columns,
could mean rival
capable of
humans
deadly
lying in
spear
wait.
throws.
Even the air carries the smell of time running out. Scientists call this an age of ruthless natural selection, when only traits that truly meant survival could pass to the next generation. And then, almost invisibly, a different strength begins to stir. Not in muscle but in the growing circuitry of the brain. The capacity for complex speech and shared imagination is taking shape, though you cannot name it yet. Right now all you know is the frightening fragility of your kind. You stand on the brink of extinction without realizing it. Every physical measure condemns you: light-boned, under-muscled, slow-footed, thin-skinned. Each breath could be your last. And yet, in the very heart of that desperate weakness, an unseen power is gathering, waiting for its moment to erupt.
Your body was frail.
Before it awakens, however, you, this fragile human, must walk the haunted territory of vulnerability, where every hour of survival feels like a miracle carved out of ice and fear. Blank, underscore, blank. Summary. This section shows how early Homo sapiens began at a terrifying disadvantage, physically weaker than predators and rival humans. Yet within that frailty a hidden evolutionary force was quietly preparing the breakthrough that would one day allow our species to prevail. You think weakness sealed your fate.
Weakness meant death.
Neanderthals were stronger, their bones like iron pillars. Denisovans thrived in brutal cold. Every rival seemed built to endure what would shatter you. Yet while their muscles ruled the earth, something else was incubating in silence, inside your skull. It began as sparks deep in the folds of your brain, where ancient neurons started weaving sounds into meaning. At first only fragments, clicks, guttural calls, soft whistles, but generation by generation, these sparks multiplied, words ignited, sentences took shape, and then something uncanny happened. Ideas stopped dying with the body. Language became a life form of its own. Picture a frozen plain at dusk.
A word.
A small band of your kind crouches in the wind, firelight flickering on anxious faces. With only a few sharp gestures and whispers, they coordinate an ambush no beast can outthink. Knowledge that would have died with one hunter now leaps like lightning from mind to mind. One spark, watch the cliff edge, becomes a plan, a trap, a kill. The first invisible weapon is born. From that moment, survival stopped being a contest of muscle. It became a contest of minds. Every phrase carried not just information but time itself, folding yesterday's lessons into tomorrow's hunts. When a member of your clan fell to sickness or ice, their wisdom did not fall with them. It slipped intact into the memories of the living, waiting to strike again. And language didn't merely preserve facts, it bred complexity. With words, you charted stars, marked seasons, mapped rivers. You invented myths that bound strangers into kin. You learned to name fear and command it. Around every campfire, stories coiled through the dark like living spells, welding scattered families into vast, thinking networks. Against that invisible net, brute strength meant nothing. Now imagine your rivals. The Neanderthal might see prey and lunge. The Homo erectus might craft a tool by instinct, but without the code of shared symbols. Their knowledge died inside their bones. They hunted as individuals, you hunted as a single, distributed mind. Language also rewired your emotions into strategy. A single whispered warning, enemy behind the ridge, could trigger 100 hearts to beat as one. Fear became a weapon, sharpened by rhythm and sound. Even in dreams, words stitched your clan together, planning tomorrow's moves before dawn. Centuries bled into millennia. While glaciers crushed valleys and beasts ruled forests, your species threaded stories across continents. You crossed deserts guided by tales of hidden springs. You sailed black oceans following constellations learned from ancestors you never met. Every sentence was a bridge through time, an immortal scaffold of survival. And still, this power felt almost supernatural. How could breath and vibration outlast stone? Yet here it was, a force that could leap from fire-lit caves to the farthest islands. A ghost living inside sound. Language was not just communication, it was memory made immortal. Fear turned into command, thought weaponized against extinction. This is the secret your enemies never sensed until it was too late. While they trusted muscle and instinct, you carried an invisible arsenal, stories that trained future hunters, strategies hidden in myth, warnings encrypted in song. By the time the last rival faded, your weapon was already unstoppable. And as you stand now, thousands of centuries later, that weapon still lives inside you. Every word you speak is a fragment of the same ancient spell. The quiet force that once let fragile humans outlive every other human species on Earth. You have reached the edge of deep time. Behind you lies the long corridor of vanished humans, Neanderthals with massive muscles, Denisovans hidden in icy caves, the mysterious hobbits of Flores, and others whose names we barely know. For hundreds of thousands of years they thrived. Then, one by one, they disappeared. Only your kind remains. Why? Not because you were stronger. Not because you were faster. The secret is colder, stranger. It lives in the way you think, speak, and share ideas. Your ancestors wove language so intricate it became a living network. Words leapt from mouth to mouth, turning scattered families into united hunters and planners. A strategy discovered at night around firelight could be taught to hundreds before dawn. An invention could outlive the inventor. Knowledge itself became an immortal organism. Now picture the world that knowledge built. While other species faced each danger alone, you multiplied your eyes and ears. One hunter saw a pattern in the stars. 1,000 learned to navigate by it. One healer found a bitter root that stopped infection. The recipe spread across continents. In the space of a few heartbeats in geological time, your species rewrote the survival code of the planet. But there is a darker pulse inside this victory. Every advance carried a silent predator, patience sharpened into power. You did not simply outfight your cousins, you outweighted them. Your people could track prey for days, starving the quarry's muscles and will. You could surround entire species with networks of information until escape became impossible. It was not brute force that erased the Neanderthals. It was the slow tightening of an invisible net woven from memory, language, and relentless cooperation. Feel that truth settle into your bones. This is not ancient history sealed behind museum glass. It is the code in your blood. The tireless hunters who shaped it have never left. They breathe in the quiet spaces between your heartbeats, waiting for the moment when your own endurance will be tested. Listen. A low rhythm stirs beneath the noise of the modern world, soft, deliberate, endless. It is the same rhythm that once drove entire species to extinction. It is your inheritance. And it asks a question that only you can answer. Will you let that power lie dormant, or will you summon it when everything you love is on the line? This is the frontier where science meets destiny. The fossils tell us how we survive. Your choices decide what survives next. Stand up. Draw a deep breath.
How you share
Let the
ideas.
heartbeat of the ancient
Language,
hunt
an
merge with
invisible
your own.
lifeline, spread from one mouth
Run
to another.
farther in every
A strategy
sense,
discovered
through
in the dark
effort,
could reach
through
hundreds before
struggle,
dawn.
through
The
ideas,
invention outlived
until
its
limits
inventor.
break like old bones
One
beneath your
person read the
feet.
stars. 1,000
Don't
read
just
the
watch
path.
history, carry it forward. Tap
Healer
subscribe
found
to
the
awaken the
roots to
endurance that
crossed
made your
oceans
species the
in
last
the
one
heartbeat of
standing.
geology.
Share this story so
Every
others feel the
advancement
pulse of
carries
those
its
who
line of
refuse to
hunger,
vanish.
patience.
The same force that once
It was
conquered
this
an
love
ice age is waiting
that
inside
became
you
the
now.
sharpest blade.
Rise and prove that you are the tireless hunter of a new age.